If it is true, as a famous American once claimed, that all politics are local, then Catawba County is one of the most local places in the nation. Since its founding in 1842, Catawba has been notable for its participation and partisanship. As one resident has observed, Catawba becomes keenly alive when its political nature is aroused. This unusual level of interest and involvement has two sources. First, Catawbans have always mixed politics with entrepreneurship.
Well, I think the thing that makes Catawba County distinctive is the entrepreneurial spirit here in the county, which has been very, very deep. I think you'll find that Catawba County through the years has had far more entrepreneurship on the individual and small company level than most any county in the state.
Second, the county has generally welcomed newcomers and their ideas.
I came here in 1984 and didn't know a soul in town. And this was an opportunity that I took advantage of by the powers to be and the business community and the citizens as a whole as being warm and friendly and inclusive.
This rejuvenating spirit made Catawba stand out in North Carolina during the 20th century. While Democrats dominated most of the state, Republicans held their own in Catawba. The county seesawed back and forth between the two parties. Democrats did well until the First World War. Then Republicans ran off with a string of narrow victories into the 1920s. Partisanship both gripped and divided families.
My grandfather, Eisenhower, was a merchant, and he was Republican. My grandfather, Jordan, was an attorney, and he was a Democrat. Both very strong in their political beliefs. We talked more politics at my home, of course, with the family. Mother was Democratic, and Mother said in later years that she did not leave the Democratic Party. The party left her in her thinking and her conservative views. And I think a lot of the things that we talked about as far as a free enterprise system, I mean the way that dad and grandfather was running the store, I think a lot of that affected my mother. And probably some of the social ideas that were being proposed at that time. My father was very violently opposed to a lot of the things of the FDR administration. And I think Mother saw the fact is that, well, I guess my daddy was pretty much up on things.
County politics took a significant tilt with the Great Depression. The successful programs of Franklin Roosevelt's New Deal gave local Democrats an electoral edge that they maintained well past the Second World War. The best-known Democrat during this period was Judge Wilson Warlick.
My father was a big civic booster, and this was in the days that predated the Economic Development Corporation and similar initiatives of that kind. But I think as he traveled throughout the state, he would talk up Catawba County. And he was the master of ceremonies at the dedication ceremony when the Postmaster General, Mr. Jim Farley, came to Newton. And in fact, some people think that dedication of the post office is the most important event that ever happened in the city of Newton.
Republicans sometimes struggled even to fill the ticket.
I remember my father telling this story about the Republicans always wanted to fill the ticket. I mean, because there wasn't a chance of us winning hardly back then at all. And they finally talked this gentleman, a merchant, into getting on the ticket. He didn't want to get on the ticket. And they told him, well, just go ahead and get on the ticket. We want to fill the ticket. And the ticket won. And this gentleman won, and he wouldn't take the position. He said, y'all told me I wasn't going to win. I mean, so that was just the way it was back then. It was just, we had no chance at all.
As federal programs grew in size and cost in the post-war period, Republican support grew. Some business-oriented Democrats began to switch their loyalties, often with surprising results.
The lady was an old family friend, and she was in charge of the registration, and I just had made my mind up that the time had come and I was going to become a Republican. So I went up there and, ma'am, I'd just like to have my registration changed to Republican. And she looked at me and she said, are you serious about what you're doing? I said, yes, ma'am, I am. And so I thought I had changed to Republican. She didn't register me as a Republican, she registered me as an independent, so I couldn't even vote.
Local politics tilted again with the 1966 election. Republicans took control of the county commission for the first time in decades.
We did more in those first 4 years than they'd done in the previous 30 years when the Democrats were in. And I think it was a beginning of just a standard move of business people running the government as a business. The intelligent things you do, people, the voters are not stupid. And if they see that you're doing a good job and they see that the group that you've got with you are really doing a good job, then they're going to continue to support you.
The Republican revival, jolted by the Watergate controversy in the 1970s, generated debate between moderates and conservatives.
Thank you very much.
We had an actual war zone existed between Hickory and Newton Conover.
Internal strife soon gave way to party unity, as Catawbans put as much stock in Ronald Reagan's conservatism as Democrats had once put into Roosevelt's New Deal. Catawba Republicans won the vast majority of local offices in the 1980s.
When our time came, we came appreciating what the legacy of our party could be, and we wanted to build on it and to enhance it. So when we came in 1980, our goal was to advance and to enhance the services of the county without being intrusive or holding back, to develop relationships and partnerships with the schools, with business and industry, to attract new industry, to get outside of the rut, if you will call it, of being totally dependent on two major industries which had been our tradition for years, textiles and furniture.
The most prominent conservative in this era was Hickory businessman Cass Ballinger, who advanced from county commissioner to state legislator to congressman.
We had built a pretty firm foundation of quality government, and we had quality people to continue to run, and it appeared to me that the politics had just dropped out of it. We didn't need to have a politics because we were winning, and you could go ahead and win and do the right thing, and in the long run, you kept control.
In recent times, Democrats have been reduced to the same supporting role Republicans played in the early and mid-1900s. Democrats, of course, hope that history will be their guide, and at some future time, local politics will tilt again.
There has definitely been a reorganizational effort with what I think is good leadership, and a number of very creditable candidates have been recruited to run for various offices. I think more and more people will respond to that organizational effort in the coming years.
If history is a guide, one thing will be certain about Catawba politics in the 21st century. Just like their ancestors, they will find their strengths in their disagreements.